Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning. So we are starting the third day, right?
Yeah, I'm just keep being amazed how crazy good and nice guys we're having here on in our podcast studio.
Definitely. So
And we're continuing with one
let's
right
welcome
now.
the first guest of the third day.
Yeah, welcome, Arkadiusz Szadkowski from ESRI.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Welcome. Good morning, everyone.
You're the rock star of LinkedIn.
I wouldn't say you are the rock star.
But I have a podcast studio, so I have to praise you now.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you if you guys think so. So my goal and mission is there to create awareness and attention to the technology, probably the same as you guys, right? So we are living right now in the digital and social media world, right? And everybody's picking up the messages from by scrolling, and so I decided to put more content there, mainly because it helps to open minds, it helps to make people aware what's there, what's possible, and I'm very happy that it resonates. And
Is this still your way how to do your business development job, or have you already been officially named the frontman of ESRI on LinkedIn?
It's a good question. It has been my way. It's one of the I would say techniques that I'm trying to increase this attention and awareness, but it has been noticed by ESRI. Actually, it's a good question. Tomorrow I have a meeting with our marketing team. There will be a cohort created within ESRI about the influencers and how to create a content into the more authentic and natural way. So it's I'm happy that ESRI has noticed this as well.
So you will be teaching the rest of the team.
Let's see. The meeting is there. There is a first meeting tomorrow, so I don't really know what will be the content, the agenda, and the scope. But if this will be the output, I will be very welcome to share my experience with the more people.
Speaking about LinkedIn, as you both are experts, what's your strategy like? Are you posting and writing mainly about what you do in ESRI or what ESRI does, or is it like overall informations about the industry?
My strategy is very simple. Like everything what suddenly interests me or I see in my conversations with the customers or users or even with the competition, I see that suddenly there is either misunderstanding, lack of good understanding, or a demand to get more information. I immediately make a note in my notes, and then I try to put this into the perspective that can resonate and make a post about it. So instead of like keeping this for yourself or making an email out of it or presentation, I immediately try to convert it into the very impactful short post that can resonate.
You are always a good example of when I'm speaking to my students about LinkedIn or wherever I speak to a company that wants to level up their presence on LinkedIn. I give you as an example of a person when once you are in this huge behemoth, in this huge company, you are creating like tons of content. You have tons of videos of images, great softwares and everything. So you have this never-ending source of great content for your LinkedIn. So if this is the case for other companies, they should be following your strategy and just putting out all the interesting stuff for the company.
I very much agree. Because we do have a lot of content that is approved to be public, right? If you visit our kiosk or anyone else, everybody has some demos, right? And then you pay a lot of money to have a stand, and then you have there's probably 20 people visiting here in Intergeo, so you will maybe get one quarter of them looking on your demo, right? And with one very good post, you can get impressions up to 100,000. You know that very well, right? So I fully agree with you. And it's the same demo, just put into the digital world. So I agree, and I plan to continue. I hope that that I will not run out of ideas, and the market will still be giving me a lot of ideas and the customers. But as I said, it's
your strategy, considering that you are a brand ambassador of the company, it's really nice, and I get jealous like every other week because you post some crazy video and that's good.
Thanks. But I need to give you guys also credit. So thanks again for invitation to your 3D Eyes conference. So this is also a very good community building. So I want to say to not only to you but also to all who are watching, these guys are doing amazing work with community building and making the market aware about the potential in the reality capture.
Thank you very much.
I had the pleasure to speak at your conference, and it was really a good experience because you really made it authentic and natural, and it was all about the networking and community building. there was not that many sales pitches, like, not everybody was trying to sell to each other, but actually Gaussian splats are the keyword of the world, and you guys managed to put it on the stage this year, probably in the best way. So now I'm speaking maybe to all the community out there, like including our ESRI marketing team. These guys deserve a chance and deserve the support, and I hope we will be supporting you next year as well.
Thank you very much.
Amazing words. Like maybe only this sentence will be recorded and
you will
put there like 3-4 times during this discussion.
Okay.
No,
right.
thank you very much. We appreciate it.
But it's for us. It's also we are a GIS company. We've been around for many decades, and when someone asks me like, "What do you do?" I always say I'm on the mission to bring imagery and reality capture. We call it reality mapping. Maybe I can explain this a little bit later. Why? To all the over 10 million RGS users and around 400,000 organizations. And to be frank, if I have to estimate today, but probably we use maybe we are right now addressing maybe a small 1 or 2% of the GIS users with this technology. So it's a huge potential. So this also what I'm doing I'm trying to do through the LinkedIn as well. It's not only out like to build a community outside, but also to educate existing customers about the potential that we have the technology, and there is also other technologies that could be ingested into the GIS world, right? Which is another big market, or the area of the market that we see here today.
But what can people see mainly on your videos or even on the marketing stuff from your company are always like huge data.
Yes.
Huge data.
Yeah,
so you're
that's true.
focused mainly on large scale data and
True.
processing of those. So maybe you can just touch a little bit of that topic.
So ArcGIS is a platform. It's an enterprise platform, right? So most of our customers are in an enterprise agreements that have multiple applications. So we operate in the region where you have to handle the national government, state and local governments data size, right? So we talk cities, we talk states, we talk entire countries data, right? So it's always so we operate from the high scale, and that's also, you can see this also from the way we are getting into this reality business. We started with satellite, aerial imagery, we're now also drones, and we are going lower towards the survey grade, as we call it, quality and the precision. So yes, and our technology is very scalable on the side. So we are really betting into the market of aerial survey business, but also satellite imaging. So providing the high resolution, large scale base map for the GIS. So
I have noticed that it's not only like coming to our environment, but you are very open in collaborations, right? I can see every other week like new companies saying like, yeah, we did this integration with ArcGIS and it's working like this and this, and so they can add a lot of value.
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning this, because the one reason why we are here also is to make to influence the brand awareness. When I joined ESRI 2 years ago, I came from the aerial survey business, mobile mapping. I was a service provider like you guys as well. And what I noticed is that many people had a very wrong impression that ESRI is a very closed company, and it's absolutely not. When I started studying our documentations, I noticed, wow, we have SDK and API basically for everything. If you want to integrate, you can integrate, and ESRI will not stop you. And we see other companies doing the integration, cloud-to-cloud integrations, or any type of the handshakes. So we are open to this. We have over 3,000 partners around the world. We signed just few partners agreements during the last 2 days as well. And we are very proud of it. And we partner with the companies on the upstream, so with the hardware manufacturers who are collecting the data. And we also have a lot of partners on the downstream that are system integrators who build based on our technology. We don't want to go outside of this core software, enterprise software. So because we recognize that each of the individual customers have a little bit different needs. And for this, we have a service providers and system integrators who can pick up components of our technology and build their business model based on that by providing these tailored solutions. So we try to stay, what we call it in the system of record, system of insight, system of engagement, core part of the platform, and then partner on the both sides of the upstream and downstream.
Mm-hmm. We're speaking about data collection or like data from satellites, but what I have seen many times are also simulations showcased in your software. So the simulations are taking a big part of it, or it's more like...
And this is, thanks again, this is really good. They ask good questions. We didn't script it before. So there is a reality capture so the data capture part, and there is visualization part. And very often we are focusing on these two very the beginnings and the end of the value proposition. Where ESRI is the strongest, and which is the whole concept of the GIS, is that you take the data, you put multiple layers of the data together, and you extract some additional value out of it, or you simulate. When we communicate our digital twin journey, maybe you can remember from my presentation in Prague, we always say that you first need to create a base model, descriptive model, then you add some information, different layers, and then you can create a simulation, scenario-based modeling, simulations, analysis. So this middle part, which is basically the analysis, the aggregation of the content, extracting additional information by crossing or overlaying multiple layers, it's the core of our technology.
But the simulations are like just virtually produced, or is it more something like a collaboration with some IoT or sensors or whatever, which are like extracting those good data?
It's both. We have a 3D analyst, image analyst that can do the simulations within our technology, but there are also connectivity to real-time feeds, IoT sensors that have to be provided externally. You can do both. And you know that with this digital twin journey and adoption, more and more external sensors will be present in our simulation.
That's what I wanted to touch. Like, how do you see the future of ESRI within the field of digital twins?
So again, we are positioning, and we are already a platform. So we'd like to say GIS and ArcGIS is an integrator of the digital twins. So I very often, when I am asked about what I think about the digital twins, I always say that you need to have a good platform and foundation where you can aggregate data, where you can connect the data, and then you have to build different interfaces. Because if you ask an urban planner what is the digital twin for him, he has his own perspective and expectations. If you ask an utilities asset inspector, he has a completely different expectation from the digital twin. But both of them need access to the data. They need a system of insight, which is the client application to access this data effectively. And they want to collect the information and upload the information. So both ways, like communication. So we want to continue to develop the RGS as a platform for the digital twins that is integrating multiple expectations and demand for the digital twin.
Mm-hmm. Just the other week, I was doing the video about the Scene2 integration with the RGS.
Yes.
And it was especially interesting because it was like one of the first ways how to actually connect the reality capturing world with the GIS world. Why do you see there's such a huge like gap or difference between, I don't know, accuracies, details, and
so
just try to explain the difference there.
We need to start on the high level. So GIS is more in the map making business, right? So for most of the GIS users, mapping grade accuracy is enough, right? Reality capture, where you guys operate, you are in the survey grade. You fight for millimeters sometimes, or centimeters, right?
Where is it?
Yeah. So, and ESRI, by introducing more and more technology, for example, our RGS indoors, which is the technology for floor planning, we start to recognize that, okay, there is a market for indoor orientation, but there's a huge market for also a precise indoor mapping, which is the reality capture world. And then, as a big company, we always have to reflect, or do we develop, or do we partner, or do we acquire, right? Those are at the executive level. This is usually the free solutions that you have to do, right? And of course, we've seen Scene2, and with the conversations we've Scene2 was over a year ago, where we're like, hey, how can we integrate the platforms? And then what you see is that today not everybody, but most are developing into the cloud, right? So, and in my conversation with the customers, we always look into the perspective. We want to avoid the situation that customers needs to double his storage of the data. Mm-hmm. Because if he has one platform and the data in one cloud and then in another cloud, then he's basically paying twice for storing the same data. So the integration with Scene2 is from the principal level was about the cloud-to-cloud integration. So the user is using Scene2 platform cloud. He has a point cloud generation there, and he can easily stream this data and overlay this with the GIS data. There's one data are placed in one place, but they are basically integrated together on the client. So we are back to this foundational level, and then on the client level, you have a widget that combines GIS and the terrestrial data together.
Sorry. So the biggest difference, if I understand it right, is in like a level of detail, right?
Correct.
So while we are hunting, okay, not millimeters, but let's say centimeters,
Yeah.
you are easily going for decimeters or meters sometimes, right?
For most of the GIS applications, that's good enough for their map making, right? So for the urban planners, they don't need to know with the centimeter precision where is the curve, right? They are more interested about the situation awareness, about the context of the changes at large scale, right? But then sometimes you might have a situation that the city has a parcel that they want to develop, right? And they would like to know exactly how the new building will like, because maybe we are going now into the risk of clash collision with some other infrastructure, right? So locally, we recognize that locally you need to have this centimeter precision, right? You need to have companies like Sinto and others. We have also other partners doing this reality capture and terrestrial, that they can come in and integrate and show the data with the high precision, but locally, right? Because those are usually scans of the buildings or the small site area, right? So.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say that it's great, like seeing these collaborations. That when we look in the past and the solutions which were there, mainly everybody tried to be close
Yes.
and everything just by itself. And now we are seeing this more often. That more and more solutions are really touching these collaborative platforms and possibilities of integrated things together. So I really think that this is amazing point, like keeping the ideas or keeping in mind that that the client needs to pay the cloud and how many times he plays the cloud. Like even like we have, I don't know, like 200 terabytes data on cloud. So if I would have to multiply it, it's crazy.
So exactly, cost of change is one of the blocking factors for adoption, right? And that kind of integration partnerships eliminate the cost of change and eliminates also a risk, right? So
Here is one thing that interests me, because we are often talking about storage of the data, then we are talking about displaying it online and sharing the data. Is it just my bias, or do you think it's in the heads of more people that if I'm sharing something online, it doesn't actually mean for me that I'm storing it somewhere? So even though I put something either on ArcGIS or I put it on a Nira or wherever I put in my data, I always have storage somewhere else. And it doesn't mean the hard storage. It actually means that I'm putting it on another cloud anyway.
yes.
Because online sharing, I don't consider, it might be a bias, but I don't consider it actually
As your
storing.
final.
Yeah.
Good point. You look from this perspective. You look from the perspective of your service providing business, where you have the control over everything, right? But back to this, when we are an enterprise solution and we have a customer who has 800 licenses and 800 people who wants to collaborate and work with the same data, right? So for them, it's very important to have, we call it single source of truth, right? And if someone hides data in the drawer on the hard drive, then single source of truth is only available for him the moment he opens and connects it to this computer, right? Once you put it into the cloud and create the connectivity, the systems of insights and engagement, you actually unlock the potential of the single source of truth, that everybody has access to the same data. And there's no versioning, no risk of someone working on not the right data.
So users can be sure that your data, that you are providing the service of sharing those and source of the one truth, they can be sure that the data is like backed up, and there's
of course.
very little chance of them losing the data. Yeah?
Yes,
So they can consider it's actually storing.
Correct. So we have two different solutions. We have the RGS Online, which is the fully cloud SaaS, or a PaaS, we call it Platform as a Service. Or we have also RGS Enterprise. So for those organizations who don't want to put the data into the cloud, you have a private cloud deployment within the organization. But then they have their own hardware, they have their own infrastructure, and all the software is deployed, but it's a local network deployment, right? But still, the concept is the same. There is a one data, there is a data redundancy and the data backup, but the users are accessing the same layers. And then here we come to the next stage, that there is a multiple layers, there is a temporal resolution. So users are creating maps or collecting new data over the same area, right? So we are creating this data catalog. So they have this, let's call it time slider, right? They can go back in time and see the data from last year, 2 years, 3 years. So then you are going in this what you mentioned, analysis, the change detections. You can see patterns, right? So the moment you start aggregating data in the single source of truth, and then you add the data, you add this temporal resolution, and you add other tools for extracting features out of this data, you have a nice database that can provide insight, very good insight.
I sometimes feel like because our companies are considered to be like small companies, right? When we are speaking to companies like yours or the company that you are representing, your clientele must be on a totally different level of the size, of the amount of the people, of the amount of the data. So can you just briefly tell us like what's your average or median customer? How does it look like and at that top level of?
Also in the size of data, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
So but I can speak maybe from the area where I work mainly. So reality mapping, RGS reality. This is an image-based product that is. Those are quite big images, right? Aerial survey companies, they collect a lot of data, sometimes millions of imagery a year. So I can tell you we have customers who are in the petabyte level of the storage, but also all the other, we call it, we disseminate data into other products, right? So definitely petabytes.
But those data are active, right? So it's not like cold storing that you just back up, but they are accessible for the client immediately, or how it's?
Yeah, I mean, the data that are stored on the online enterprise, they are active, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes, of course, they are. I'm not that in detail, like what's their IT setup, but of course they can do the offline backup on tapes and so on. From my experience before ESRI, like when we were working in the aerial survey, we were keeping data active online for a year or two. Then you are dropping data to LTO tapes because this is the cheapest storage type, and then you keep them usually depending on your contract. We were keeping this for 5 years, for example, right? So because customers might come back and we had a server crash, we lost the data, we would like you to redeliver, right? But at ESRI, we try to keep the data. User decides it's up to the user decision, right?
Okay, but the term petabytes, for many people, it might be something like the words from Harry Potter. So can you just tell us like what does it mean? Like your customers are scanning or mapping the whole countries, or what does it actually mean in terms of what regular people can actually understand and touch?
So for example, if you look into I can share with you guys link later. There is an entire state in Germany that has combined multiple meshes, 3D meshes and true orthophotography and DSM into the one geoportal. So when you zoom out, you will see probably 20% of Germany in the 3D mesh, true ortho and DSM and so on. So this is a huge storage of the data. It's active. You can scroll it. You can combine it with LOD models, CTHML models. You can overlay different GIS layers and so on. I will share the link so maybe you can.
This is what I'm speaking about.
You can show.
I have not scanned 20% of the Germany yet.
not yet. Yeah.
And it's very interesting. But also it's very impressive, right? So you can basically you can start at the building level, zoom out. We have even animation on that. Maybe I can provide you animation so we can add it right now into the streaming. That you will be zooming out from the city level all the way to the Europe. You will see almost entire Europe, and you will see the footprint of the data itself. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe as we are representing future in reality capturing, one of the last question from my side would be, how do you see Gaussian splatting and your solution?
It's amazing rendering technology. I call it sweet spot between the photogrammetry and meshing and the point cloud. I think it will be extremely impactful in the asset inspection, asset inventory level. It might in some areas retire, or maybe retire is the wrong word, but in some areas people will discover that they don't need LiDAR, that image-based capture and doing Gaussians is good enough to get the thin structures. I think it's what's the most important and where we are approaching. We are about to release Gaussian splats for our desktop applications. For us from the day one we need to put it beyond the visualization. So it's very important for us that it will work with all the other applications and this analysis tools, so 3D analysis, image analysis, and so on. So for us, it was extremely important to the one that you can measure, you can run simulation, you can run analysis, and that you will be able at some point to run also GeoAI on top of it.
Like we see this as a in some way as a future, also because of size of the data. I don't know if you had a chance to compare something, but like something what is done from photogrammetry as a mesh model with textures is in gigabytes, and then you create the same thing on Gaussian splatting and you are in megabytes. So looking at this data of petabytes data for 20% of the Germany, maybe this will also decrease the storages.
True, but yes, so compression level and LOD, as from what I heard and know, it's easier on Gaussian splats than on LOD. But we managed to optimize quite well also the 3D meshes. So
I believe so.
So for us, what we see on the reconstruction level, it's more or less very similar. But in the publishing, there is a storage save on the publishing. I agree. This will streamline a little bit better. What I also see, I think, it's that Gauss, they are so realistic that I think they are so right now trending, let's call it trending on the everywhere, because everybody looks on it and they immediately understand, right? You don't have to explain what's happening. It basically looks like the reality, and this will, in my opinion, this will unlock a lot of the potentials. I see you guys are already also publishing on it. I see it might unlock beyond even the GIS and mapping. We will see. I envision in 5 years all the real estate will be done with the Gaussian splats. The imagery or panoramas will disappear. You will be able to see the house in the Gaussians, right?
Totally agree.
Thank you very much, Arek.
Guys, again, thanks for the invitation. I look forward to supporting you guys also on their way. So if you are watching the podcast, thanks for joining us. And these guys are doing amazing work in building the community. So I'm happy.
Thank you so much for your nice words.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Thomas.
And see you in Prague.
See you in Prague. Bye. Bye.